Right, where you living? Please be seated. Veuillez-vous s'asseoir.
Good morning again. I hope you had a good break. And I would like to ask you a few questions about the cousin you mentioned this morning, but please don't mention his name. All right? We'll just call him your cousin.
كويس.
Okay.
كويس. Yeah.
Very well.
Can you tell us what happened to your cousin after the fighting in Sindhu? That was in early 2004.
طبعا دوي ماما كوي يسي تونكي با تونسي كرغي با نمسكاري خلاص نمسكيني إلن لون نسكاري أسكالون با خلاص كيلي أنا ما كارنا كواسي كيلي نجوزي سالبجل لو بكر راكي دكر جينا نقول هذا كينا جدال كا الجدكم خلاص قلنا
Answer. My cousin was taken from home to an unknown location. We didn't know where he was taken to, and we would ask people secretly about him. Later, we were informed that he was killed with another group of young men in the openness.
Was it to Mukjar that he was taken?
إيه kwad nima men kama sijin kita ama sogadi bo halas ama kiyalin der nay kawai.
Answer. Yes, he was taken to Mukjar, and other young people were taken and put in prisons. And after spending some time in prison, they would kill them.
And when and how did you find out what happened to him?
Taban kwa songa tike lanu na kunduli kwa king nang taban nang kwa si kundu ana kele na shababa basi surunga kulele kwa dinga banki aba zai daidi si bayin ban daidi yo bari tina bomu abai kumi aga la khalas kan kama ji kiji jami na yara ka ba ama kele na tawali kare tena sijin ke dia pada sijin khalas ka bayin ban ko din ko na
Message from the four interpreter. There was a discontinuation in the voice, and the latter part was not rendered.
Would you mind translating the first part, and then I can take it from there? Thank you.
They were taken to Mokjar, and we would ask people about him, because the people who were captured were numerous. So we would ask about him in secret, and there was a campaign, an arrest campaign for the young people. And many young people would hide in hay, inside hay or straw, in fear of being arrested.
Madam, the connection was not very good. Can I ask you again how you found out what happened to your cousin? Who is it who told you?
Ilonge kwa sita bani je ingalo baldo toksia wala kwa usia kwa so ngazi ke kundu ana kweli ba ke dinga shawaba kurunga ngira wale kwa maarufa kama nalo ingalo mbal kwa palingi tato ngai smunjar karea ngai ngi sa ba kama kala sindual do mujiri ngai me sikin kinya ngai limma ka alba songa kabul alas ya taban kwa mujar kan maskar kwa kan pisin ma arbe ndio kinya alas nama kia jurana kawe alas no di ngarbe putus kinya
Answer. There was a campaign against young people. So there were some people roaming in the villages looking for the youth. That's why the number of arrested people was big. Some young people would climb the trees to hide there. However, they were captured at the end. So they would capture and detain these young people, collect them in one place, gather them, and load them in vehicles, taken to Mokjar outside the city, and then the vehicle would return empty without any person. This happened by people that we all knew.
I stopped you for the sake of interpretation. Is there anything else you wanted to say about this?
inzi ya duai ta kwaba marang al kwa so ngasi na ki budwa kele ba kweli bas elle albay kweli halas nama jija be sarki bay kele ama en kama ji al mujirin jam an ba ko na haggin ka tane kundi alba nama gal ki allo yemba lo kweli shawari ya kweli judangani za tabakile ni halas taba nama kwa dogi hano bali duo to bes kwa so ngwa ki ndo la fagirin ka ne halas liya na sijin kai halas sijin gel bat fatara nama ei do ke bana siki arbe iskare ta killu juda na kwa juda ali kanne tata jusanga kummi khora le kiti halas taban insana bello na ayai bat fatara ka kwa hayan kan ka bazarin
Answer. No. But in this campaign, a large number of the youth was detained, and this happened in public, not in secret. And they were looking for people everywhere, in the streets, in the farms, and outside the villages. And they said that they were taking these people, these young people. After they detained them, they said, we are going to take them to prison. But they did not take them to prison. After a while, we discovered that those people were killed outside the city. People who were taken outside the city, or people who would go outside the city, would find the bodies in the khurs and in the farms.
And Madam President, just for the record, I note that the name of our client's cousin is listed in evidence that has been submitted in the record, namely lists of the persons said to have been executed in the charged Mukjar events. That's star OTP 6 zeros followed by 14 at page 3, row 9, and DAR OTP 02 20 5723 R01 at row 3. Thank you. Madam, we will now move to your life in the IDP camps, and as we have agreed, we won't mention the name of the camp where you're staying. We understand that after you left Mukjar, your family arrived at a displaced persons camp in the Wadi Sali locality. Is that correct? But don't mention the name of the camp.
Say.
Answer, yes, that's correct.
Can you describe to us what life was like for you and your family in the camp, specifically regarding housing, food, water? I may stop you in between for the sake of interpretation, and then you can continue, all right?
Saba tari zatu kutumula kawa. Anu na mashakila gal alanji rejo na tari ja galbang ko jo na mashakila.
Answer, the situation currently in the IDP camps is very difficult. People suffer a lot simply because they can't work, and they don't have a chance or opportunity to work. So the situation is difficult. The circumstances are very difficult. Even if you try to go to the farms, in light of the current issues and events, you fear to go to the farms. The circumstances or the conditions are very difficult.
Please continue. And my understanding is that you moved from one camp to another, the one you're staying in now, and maybe you can include to your answer the development, starting in 2004 until today, if anything changed in the camps.
والله ودي كان ودي صعب لأننا بمعسكر كان 20 سنة معسكر ليه معسكر ولا شغلانة ندو فيها كده ولا ظروف أي ظروف نعمل إنجا أدي جونا أدي الجموع وجان صبر أي وجرب أي ظرف أي وجك أي نون تحمل أنا نقوى أنا أسكين با وهل أسكين باران الدوام الدوس وجان باي أنا نجيس حاليا في رجيس كرو أيضا دي وجان بس بس هذا كان
Answer. The situation, generally speaking, in ID camps is very difficult. We live in these camps. We have been living there for 20 years. And there is scarcity in health services. There is scarcity in employment or jobs whereby people can earn their livelihood. This is one of the challenges. The other one is that there is a widespread of diseases and there is no health insurance or medical services. So when someone falls ill, we are unable to foot the bill of treatment. This is one of the difficult situations that we experience in the ID camps.
Did or do you get any support from help organizations?
فعلا صح هل عندك ليكا اللي أولا كان منظمات إلي فعلا quasi مساعدة إني كان إني مشمات إني يفضل فيه quasi سايدن في شيء بمرحلة من المنظمات نتنسي قوام ولي حسين يا نمغال منظمات سيكون لما كوري بعد المنظمات سيكوري نمغال قوام كون شوية حالة قلب أسوأ كوني.
Answer. At the beginning, when we got displaced in the first camp, then we moved to the second camp. The situation was very good because organizations used to provide services and food stuff. They would provide this to the IDPs. The situation was somehow very good. Yet, after dispelling these organizations, this resulted in people suffering. So the situation exacerbated. It became even worse. And we live in this difficult situation until now.
In the first camp, what type of work did your husband do? And what was actually the reason for moving to another camp?
طبعا إسحالة سوء إلى مسكرة أوركمولي نوفيات والدو كان كبير السنة خلاص لما ينام كا ترجع لك na hilla digle kawo itinga do شوية كده زبابنا كبا إسهالة نمر إليكم نمية نقا سيكاولا نقا إلالي كيو طبعا إلالي ألينا كيو نقوم فترة كده
Answer. When we were in the first camp, things or the situation exacerbated. Diseases were widespread, like diarrhea, and the death rate was very high, especially amongst the infants and the elderly. So we moved to the next camp or the other camp because we couldn't find a good environment in the first one. That's why we moved to the second one. There was no flies or diarrhea where we stayed for a period of time.
And how did your situation develop then in the second camp?
طبعا إنتاني كمولي الكاين أمرو إنان كان كي مجاسبا وينا منظمة نفيه إلي نبولي نكواسي وتانا إني بارل منظمة أي حاجة جينا مشامنا كان دولة كالتنا إني كواسي مشافتا كوي نكواشي خلاص نمكال كواسو واكي دو كيلي خلاص نمسكار خلاص ملين يارو وشينا طبعا لازم عليه كويسة كانا أي مشكلات كانا باري لون دو وجان باين منظمة كواتا والي سافر زنكال
Answer. In the first camp, we were in a very difficult situation, and life there was very risky. That's why we tried to move to the next camp, and after we did that, we found some attention from the organizations. Relief and humanitarian organizations would give us some blankets, food stuff, and they built health centers. If a person would fall ill, the organizations would help treat this person. The situation was very good.
How many people approximately live in the camp today, the camp where you stay, and in what type of house do you live with your children?
والله طبعا كوا علافة سمواجه كوا كين علافة يتاعه كوا تونga داين عنجبا
Answer. The camp where I live currently is inhabited by thousands of IDPs. The number is not small. As for the type of buildings, houses in the camp are built of hay or straw.
And your children were or are they able to attend school?
طبعا كين أبوه كوا أوي سوال كاي كي رسوم كارتيا
There is connection instability. I couldn't hear the last part.
كين أو
Can you translate for me the first part so that I can then go back to the victim?
Yes, my children are able to go to school. Some of them, yet the older ones work and help us in the house to buy some things in the household, both for the siblings and for us.
The connection was not good, so our understanding is that the smaller children go to school and the older children are at home and help you with the household or any kind of work that there is to do. Is that correct?
Lala, in waye, apunga kwa au, talata gena matatakai kin warabat, surin sormade. Kin apunga, taban yang au do shogol kai, kiro sumatang, kasala ngai kai ba. Wala kin karasa, kin malabisang, kasala ngai kai ba. Imma in tura dumu, egal khalwa ke, na khalwa ke. In rabe, mado madarsa ke. Nasgal ka is dasi din din rabe sin arba. Nikindokea kwa
Answer. My children go to school. 3 of them go to school. The others work and help us with the financial needs to buy school materials and other things, and they don't ask us for money. They work. These work while they study. The other one, the middle child, studies in the Quran school. The youngest ones don't work and don't go to school.
And those who work, what type of work do they do?
wallahi ina fudu ku furu le shogol fe. Furu nisi shogol kai. Na nimera iknen gal ki warshan sit shogol kai. Nimera talata egal duina ki matamin sit shogol kai. Khalwa ke. Nimera arba le yena magal ka yesi kas der rusumate. Kira yesi.
Answer.
Kalwa demo.
My eldest son works in a traditional bakery. The second one works in a workshop. The third works in a restaurant. And the third one is the one who studies in a Quran school. The other 4, I pay the education fees for. The youngest ones study in the Quran school because the situation is difficult.
Can you tell us what it has been to raise 7 children in an IDP camp?
كندورة من طبعا يندين بقى الوطن بيا 4 سنين كده أول دين بقى إنسايدن في نن كيس ورما سايدن كو نن دولا سي نن ما بعد ربن كو نما يجا ندين بقى وطن بيا كا طبعا نما سوكين نزلين سو أين توالي نكوين تعمين على يوميا الرن مسكوين لو تدين كيس إلا مرات nama gal modil o gal tarin iwel gal anina duin tare sin jasi bindil na tare o
Yes, sir. The father of my children used to help me. However, he passed away 4 years ago. So afterwards, I had to work at the market selling Tamiya dishes. Sometimes in the fall season, I would go work in farms to earn my living.
You mentioned that very sadly your husband passed away a few years ago. Can you explain to us under what circumstances he died?
طبعا واجدين كويس طبعا يه هيتو بدو كان ظرفنا مجاسفة كان كين دولا دين تربية لين تعليم لين أي شغل في طبعا خلاص في النهاية نمس بنزين ديلو فولي في جاس خلاص نادي بعد ما كان نشغل فيه نما فجأة كده يوم الجمعة زي الساعة 10 كده كنا دو كان بنزين أبن فيه مثلا دوسي جيني خلاص هنا نمس وتو دو كان جو وتو تانبا خلاص دو كان نما فيه نسانيا بس أوريني بس فوليني با خلاص نما ينسويني دي هارجيني كده نمي نمي وابن بيا
Answer. When he was alive, my husband worked to help raising and educating the children. I used to work at a shop where fuel and gas was sold. Suddenly, at 10 a.m. on a Friday morning, as he was trying to supply a client with fuel, and as he tried to pour the fuel in the tank or in the container that the customer used at the time, the fuel shop went into flames and he burned while inside the shop.
I'm very sorry to hear about this accident, madam, and I would like to ask you if these kind of accidents or fires are common in the camps. Does this happen very often?
طبعا حرايق زوجتي ذاته فجأة كده لأنه نتوما دكي خالص من داي ممكن بدي أعلمك يعلمها فيه زي ولا دوكي دون ولا دوكي دوتوما كورلي طبعا حرايق كده طوال زولتها كويس سوينغ ذاته قبل كده فيديو بدأت كده سوينغ عادي كده أذكر.
Sir, the foreign interpreter indicates that he was not able to heal parts given the intermittent connection. Answer. It is common for fires to occur in the camp because houses are very adjacent to each other and they are built with materials such as grass and straw, which contributes to the fast spreading of fires. Also, children sometimes play with flames which can cause fire. A few days ago, a little girl burned in the camp. These fires happen constantly at the camp.
I would like to discuss now with you your own work in the camp. You are working for a women's association. Can you explain to the judges what this association does? Is it correct that your association raises money from the community for a kind of trust fund to help women and families in need? Those who are impacted by sickness, death, or fire, perhaps?
خلاص هنا كاي موتا عشان ملمنكا ما داير رئيسان تونك سكا خلاص أباس دايم بارا ديكي وزور إما زي مرض هل دين وجه سونغاي مساعدة كويل نما إلى جميلة ركبوا الناس مدينكا لا قاسي دايم بارا سي هريجة فاي nama galdo ide erikabu zai kan kai fulunga nama do simiden kana saiden ka no dain ani hasi inan kai
Answer: Yes, we collected wheat, corn, okra, and fava beans, which we stored at the house of the head of the association. Later, if something wrong occurs, such as sickness, we would provide aid to the sick. Also, if a fire happens in a person's house, we would also take some of the association's money and also some fava beans, wheat, and other things available to the association to provide aid to the person whose house was afflicted.
And do you organize women to go and collect wood? And why do you do that?
دي ما في نا دمنا كبه احتمال نسين أي حادث لأرض دمبين بايلونس أي حادث لأرض دمبين surunga si saiden kaw na sursia kundiba na amaro dimbara si do
For interpreter indicates that the sound connection is intermittent. Answer: Yes, we organized women go into the wilderness to collect firewood. We did that because in the event of any attack or aggression by whomsoever, we would help each other and stand by each other's side. It was a way to protect ourselves.
Is it the case that women frequently get attacked when they, for example, collect wood outside of the camps?
لا لا هسه تنية إلى عيبة لكن دو كان إلى كان دو حماية سرونga sila anu na dok si surunga sis watshanga kau ama juda bani ki aldo ki timba ni shwaya anu kwa songa dok riata uzuran ni ke kwa songa ki kwa itang na duo to kina ko arrive.
Answer: No. It was solely for the sake of protection. Sometimes we would hold workshops out in the wilderness. In my view, this was a good way to go about things because being in a large number helps us do things in a better way.
Can you say something in general about the situation of women in the camps, many of which, like you, have lost their husbands in different circumstances? Is there a big solidarity amongst the women?
Adba. Saiden ko tawa ba dai bara si ko na dai genya shiri. Hatta ki wel zato. Kan zurufa saba ge. Na taban wata kanga aka yi ba girsha ke ba nafsu dai bara ira si saiden ko. Tawale kan si kabun na kanin saiden ko. Pagadik puludik.
Sir, indeed, we do help each other. If a sister of ours goes through a rough patch, we would give her help, especially in the fall seasons where circumstances are particularly dire, given the lack of crops and the lack of capital. And hence, we would extend a helping hand to any sister going through a rough patch, facing a disease. We would help with the crops and okra we have at the association.
Earlier today, you told us about 3 incidents of rape that you witnessed when you were fleeing from Kudum to Mukjar in 2003. Can you tell us if sexual violence is something that is discussed within the Fur community, within the families, amongst women, sisters, or is it something that people don't talk about? Is it a taboo?
Filan. Kwasi صعب سيزاتو. طبعا بو أبدين كو أي با بندين باري. لأنه نا إن ريكيري روداي با صعب سيزات والان بس إلى بلاي سبين زاتو. أسكايني تبا لأنه عندي بارا تقل دايجي ما كوب. دايجي كوب. عادي كده أسيكي كوان أي كوني لكي نسكو. كي كوان كويس أي مشكلة.
Answer. The case of rape was shocking and was very tough for everyone. The women who were raped, some of them are our sisters, are our own kin. It is difficult for us to talk about them because that would be embarrassing to them. In order for them to feel at ease and to feel part of society, we avoid talking about these things. Otherwise, we would prevent them from integrating into society. We would keep such subjects aside. We would treat them normally as if nothing had happened in the past in order for them to feel reassured and at ease as members of the community.
If a woman would need help or medical treatment because of the consequences of the sexual violence she survived, would she is there a place where she could get help, and what kind of help?
طبعا Sheikh is coming كي كان هنا Sheikh is coming دايما برا المساعدة كوي Sheikh ده مرة جينا منظمة قواسي بلغ هم خلاص طبعا منظمة قوانا صايدين كوانا نسنا عليهم كوانا ناسي كي
Answer. If a sister of ours is subjected to rape, we would report this to the sheikh. The sheikh, in his turn, would report the matter to organizations. Consequently, the organizations would provide the necessary treatment, remedy.
Do you know what kind of treatment we are talking about? What kind of treatment they would receive?
هلا خايتو كما كان رحيم لس أنا طبعا نعلم كوي كان طابع عندنا شديد نمس مستشفى تذكرتيا نما إلياتا كان خلاص نما قال فينا ألم كوي نما قال فينا كويسة فينا كويسة
Answer. Rape causes pain in the womb. It is therefore a very difficult thing to deal with. Usually we would take the raped woman to the hospital to receive treatment. The healing takes place consequently.
Our understanding is that sadly many women were raped during the conflict and many children were born out of rape. Can you say something about the situation of children who were born out of rape and what their standing is in your community, if they carry a stigma or if they are completely accepted and integrated?
لا لكن طبعا كان حالة سي مكان خالص لأنه أنا ودي معروف هنا كي إجباري بقوي أنا مسكتهم طبعا كان ودي لكن كوي بس مسكتهم
The foreign interpreter indicates that the sound feed is unclear.
I apologize, madam. I will have to ask you to repeat your response that wasn't well heard on this side of the channel.
ديون ودي طبعا ديون ودي دولا جبنا نسكيني لأنه na insani kwe alang ji insan si har jenja ji sa iktisabin kwe jang wala ji masalan abala zain ba idan kan صعب شوية وذي منظر صعب كويلي ذاته برنا ذاته طبعا كوكلنا لكن ba aniage bas lanu na za ta kwasi do si hagara si ba ko nas ke nama ki barngang nama ke na nas ke da ke barngang ba si nama gal batri.
Answer. People know full well that rapes did occur, and therefore they avoid embarrassing a child before his peers that he is a child out of wedlock, and therefore it is the community's habit to accept and integrate a person. It is our custom not to embarrass anyone. Such person hence would live normally among his peers, and his mother gets married, he would call his stepfather dad, just like his half siblings. So such child would be accepted, not rejected. After all, he's a human being.
Is there anything else you would like to add specifically about the situation of women and children in the camp that I haven't asked you, and that you see during your daily work in the camp?
طبعا بلسان يعني طبعا مسلمك لأننا إذا كان ناسي كن قاعدين بروا كن كا أي شغل تكال نكي أدين دو مثلا سي أورا جاي ورتون دي زريف تاباني حتى كن قال منظمات قوان كن تبوما به نسيس واسدنا.
Answer. We women are done a lot of injustice to. When I saw all these horrors myself, I saw how women suffer. They work well, and I appeal to the heads and chairs of organizations to pay extra attention to the situation and the status of women because they are being wronged.
Can you, madam, tell us how the situation in the camp has changed since the new outbreak of the conflict in April of this year?
طبعا ودي أسوأ لأننا مستشفيات أسكانا na برضو كوان دين وددوك شوية كده كويس nang munazamata kai tete طبعا ندير كل الناس كيا barang nyingi فعلا أمورها دربكن فيها ظروف سيئة مرة وايدة ظروف سيئة.
Answer. The situation in the camps has become very difficult after the recent war, because before the war we used to have access to some limited services such as hospitals as well as the presence of organizations. Yet after this war the situation has exacerbated.
We understand, or we know, that you had a very, very long and difficult journey in order to be able to appear before the judges today. Would you like to explain to them why it was so important for you to leave your children behind in the circumstances and to come here to speak with them?
طبعا لأننا 20 سنة بقى مظلومة كم النساء والأطفال دول كده تعب إنجلي بدا ينركي تعب بدا ينركي كان ما يموا مدام نما لوكي نكوا عدالة كوي مشكلة على بكوين دولاتي عايزة بس أنا نسأل كيف يسوى اللغة العدالة كي أنا بقى أقول ناس داير السا
We in the camps have been oppressed and marginalized for 20 years. We have been there for 20 years in the camps. And this led me to seek a place where justice could be established. And I said, as long as there a place where established where justice could be established, I would definitely go. As for my children, I entrusted them to Allah, God, until I returned to them. Message from the foreign interpreter. There was a later disconnection and I could not catch the latter part of the witness's testimony.
I don't really know if this is something that you can put into words, but if you tried to describe the impact of what has happened to you and to your family, to your community, the impact it had at the time and until today, is it something you can put into words?
Message from the foreign interpreter. We don't see or hear the participant.
Yes, well, I hope that was just a blip, but it may be more than that. It appears that the connection has been cut, but it's going to be reconnected, we hope.
We are back on. Yes, okay. Okay.
I don't know if my question has been translated to the victim. Shall I rephrase or? Madam, did you hear my question before the connection was cut?
Well, no, I mean, can the interpreters answer, please?
كرر جزا
kindly repeat the question again?
I know this is difficult, but one of the reasons why you wanted to speak to the judges, can you put into words the impact on you, on your family, on the community, of what has happened to you in 2003 and 2004, and of course the past 20 years? It is a very long time, but if you try to put it in words, that would be good.
والله عموما دي لنا ظروف أساسية من كوين ظروف صعبة كدولة لأنه دولة التربية ذاته يقال فيه والتعليم برنا كاين ذاته والله ظروف سيئة فيه ظروف سيئة فيه دولة بكرة به أبتو جرافي توقن فيه عندي قادينا لتنكي أمبانا شوية كده شغل اسكون عليك منظمة نما جراكاي كندينا شوية aldo ki mbanga iting dok konyingana dok tijara ngaskaini dok magereka ama bikin miskina zurufa saidi ya fi balan dola zato miskin dola ran gereka.
Answer. The conditions are very difficult for me personally. I suffer from very difficult conditions, especially with the children. I have difficulty raising my children and educating them. My siblings also have the same difficulty. They cannot provide any assistance or help raising these children. Education is very difficult. For example, if a child is able to read and write, the others cannot because of the situation. Those who are better off and their parents can have some revenue generating work, they can continue their children's education. As for the orphans and the children of the poor people, they cannot continue their education as a result of this difficult situation their families are in.
Can you tell us something on the impact the conflict and the displacement had on the Fur culture? Is the Fur culture and the traditions something that you succeed in teaching your children and living in your day-to-day life, or is that very difficult in the camps?
واسم جدا إبسي خالص عنه وكان كما الأم جنزاته الأم جنة كده راجع إمبارح طبعا أمي ده تدو أمي كوا هرات دولا شديد سبب ظروف أجانا كوا سايدة ما في بالان دو دي في تعليم فيها عشان كده.
Answer. Yes, that is very difficult.
أنا أي معاناة لكن وأي ظرف لكن
Answer: the conditions are extremely difficult. And in the Fork community, yes, education is highly valued. When a child does not go to school or drops out of school as a result of economic situation, people call that person an illiterate, and this is a very bad title or word to call a person, and it has a grave impact on people. So a person would not drop out of school unless for extremely difficult conditions. Currently, we live in very difficult conditions in the camps.
Is there anything that you would like to tell the judges about the meaning for you and for your community of this very specific trial? Is it something that you're interested in, that you're following? Is it important for you that this trial is happening?
والله كويل لانجس أي وفرن كيا تعليم كويل أنا كاين دولا جريكا وكينغسي لانجس أمني وفرن كلا أنو أبس دو أمني بين أمان نبين على دو دين سورين دين أني دين هما ينتو بالان إرجان دي نفس أي شيء جانا كين دولا مش فاتا كويل هسي ما سيفر كاونا مش فاينا على دواس أني كاس كاين كورو كويل koro kiasi kwa di musafa saa kamera nandi korle jamo hillela ki kaman no bakten jata ki musaada kwel shadid na ani kwel
Answer: we need all the help possible from the court. We urge the court to provide security, education, hospitals, and places where we can get water or water sources, because we have to walk for approximately an hour to get water, and we carry water on donkeys. In order to be able to get 2 bags of water, plastic bags of water, we live in very difficult situations, and we would like to request help, and also we are interested in justice.
Now, looking to the future, what would you say are your very personal hopes for the future? And what are the hopes for your family and maybe for the community? I'm sure that you often speak about this when you sit together.
والله قد يمر أول حاجة كي باس بأونس كيسي ما عندينجس أمان جس فيالن جس كيسي دايلو جس أمان إننا أي رجو تجيو نا كيدين كيف دينا أدي دين أي شغالين جو نكيدين كيف أني جاي ناس هوري جاي تمام كين جنجبيدا هذا بريا كين كين بريا kim barias kabe kim kwa al dok al kwasis kazitia dok amenen kawa ala sikwel.
Answer. I appeal to the court to provide security and safety because we struggle a lot because of the lack thereof. I would like to enjoy this sort of security whereby I can walk to the openness or to the forests without being worried, without worrying of being followed. I would like also to request the ICC to disarm the Janjaweed who commit crimes and unspeakable horrors in Darfur. Also, we would like to request that safety and security for our communities in the camps.
Is it a wish for you and other members of your community to return to your land?
Wallahi filan ababoru amaninga na ayu adwa kebal kwasi duwa si haddidin fi ولا دوا كبال جيسي سالم في نهوري تماما كي طبعا دول دين بوزورة لكن هسي مسكرة تلقوا تابانا كي شديد زرا دكيا كبا لأنه مسكرة دين موانا شديد.
Answer. Yes, indeed. We hope to return to our places of origin and our areas when there is peace and security in our areas and there is no one to threaten people on the road. Of course, we would return to places of origin. No one would refuse to return to their places. Everyone hopes to live in their place of origin. In the camps, the condition and the situation is very difficult. The farms are very far, and we cannot continue to go all the time. We suffer from this, so we would like to have peace and security in the camps.
Thank you, madam. I unfortunately had to interrupt you several times today. So is there anything that you wanted to say and that I stopped you from saying? Then please feel free to do that now.
بس دوي إنويل أسانينوا طبعا كي أبونا كي طبعا إنكويل دي لنا أي خدمات كين إلي أبونا سي أنا كيس كيس ده لكن خاص كيس كونين كوا أنو وما كيزول من كوا كواسا أتاي ما كين كوا كين زروبا تابانا بي شغلين كوا شغل دي ألبا شغل جو بكين على سجيت دبلن جو كوا شغل أونا إيسي دبلن كوا مسكين أزبولي تبا.
Answer. We request from the court to provide services in the camps and to separate between men's and women's services in the organizations because men oppress women. So we would like to have special branch for women to organize women's affairs. We need to separate between these two things. Men do not care for women and oppress them all the time. The second part, I would like to request from the court is to try to provide employment in the camps. Some people work 3 shifts and hardly it is enough. We suffer from very difficult conditions in the camps.
I would like to thank you very much for the enormous efforts that you made to be able to appear before the judges today. As you may have felt or not felt, it was very quiet here in the courtroom. Everyone was listening very carefully. And I also want to thank you on behalf of other participating victims, because they cannot all come here and speak to the judges. So it's very important that you took this role of expressing the voice and the views and concerns, as we call it, of the victims. Thank you very much and have a safe journey back home. And we will be in touch, that's for sure.
Inshallah. Inshallah. Jazakallah mashkuran diyengiri am diyengiri na diyengiri za su lazim ba. Mashkuran. Shukran Allah.
Thank you very much. I thank you all, and I am grateful to you and all those who work in this court. May God bless you all.
Yes, thank you, Ms. von Wistinghausen. Madam, that concludes what you have to say to the court. And like Ms. von Wistinghausen, we the judges thank you for the enormous efforts that you made to come and tell us what happened to you and your family. Regrettably, we cannot, because we are
Kwesi kado barke nga yenga kado wenzi wa kado gal yenga diyengiri mashkur angal gis kasi gis adala ka. Kain umniyata gis haggi.
Answer. And I, in turn, thank you personally and thank the judges and everyone, because you provide and establish justice to us, and we hope that our aspirations and hopes are realized.
I need perhaps to say this to you, that regrettably we cannot do anything, this court cannot do anything about your living conditions or your security or your education and hospitals, all of which are vital aspects of life with which you should be provided by other organizations. But the words that you have uttered, if the time does come, an appropriate time, will remain with the judges and be taken into account. So once again, we thank you.
Inshallah. Inshallah. Shukran.
God willing, thank you all.
Yes, thank you very much, madam. That concludes your time with us, you can leave wherever you are now. Thank you. Yes, yes, Miss von Wistinghausen. Yes, can we cut the feed? Yeah.
Shukran. Shukran.
Thank you, thank you.
Well, yes, Madam President, just a few words because we're concluding the presentation of our witness case, and given the circumstances, it was split into two pieces. But I would like that all of us be reminded of the appearances of the three other victims, Hassan, who appeared from Canada by video, and V1 and V3, who came all the way from Chad to The Hague and spoke to you here in person. And now, yesterday and today, V4 and V5. I can only reiterate how important it was for them to undertake this mission, if I may say. There are only 5 out of more than 750 participating victims who we are now representing in this case. And yes, I am grateful that they had some space, some appropriate space within these proceedings. And of course, we hope that the judges, as you said, at the appropriate time, will take their views and concerns into consideration. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. von Wistinghausen. And as you say, the 750 who are participating in this case are but a small proportion from the evidence that we have heard of those who've suffered as a result of the conflict now 20 years ago. Yes, thank you very much. That then, as you say, concludes the victims' views and concerns in this case. So, Mr. Edwards, can I take it that you and Mr. Lauchi are prepared to start at 2 o'clock?
Certainly, it'll be Mr. Lauchi who addresses you.
2:30, I'm reminded. Yes, came back to other lunch hours. Yes, 2:30.
2:30, yes.
Yeah. Yes, thank you very much.
All right, veuillez vous lever.